They thought she was just another grieving widow at the Mill Valley bus station, clutching a folded American flag as she waited for her evening bus. The Road Demons motorcycle gang had taken over every transit hub in 3 counties, and this quiet station seemed like just another easy target for their expansion. What they didn't realize was that Sarah Matthews wasn't just any military widow. She was the wife of Captain James Matthews, one of the most decorated Army Rangers in Afghanistan, and today, she carried not just his flag, but his unwavering spirit of justice. Her quiet demeanor masked a lifetime of strength earned through 20 years of standing beside a man who never backed down from protecting others. Now, watching 5 road demons swagger through the station doors, Sarah recognized the familiar pattern of predators sizing up their prey. She could have walked away, could have disappeared into the crowd like so many others who'd watched this gang terrorize bus stations across the state. Instead, she chose to stand her ground, a decision that would transform a simple bus station into ground zero for a showdown between intimidation and honor. By sunset, the road demons would learn a harsh lesson about judging someone's strength by their tears, and the entire town would discover that true courage often comes wrapped in a folded American flag. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The evening sun cast long shadows through the grimy windows of Mill Valley bus station as Sarah Matthews stood motionless near the ticket counter. Her fingers traced the edges of the triangular display case containing the flag that had draped her husband's coffin 3 years ago. The fabric held within spoke of sacrifice, honor, and a love that transcended death itself. She'd made this monthly journey dozens of times, traveling to the veteran support group 2 towns over. But something felt different tonight. The usual evening crowd was conspicuously absent. No chattering families waiting for loved ones, no students with their oversized backpacks, not even the regular evening commuters. Instead, a heavy silence hung in the air, broken only by the nervous shuffling of the few passengers who huddled near the walls, their eyes downcast, bodies tense with unspoken anxiety. The rumble of motorcycles shattered the quiet. Not the casual pass-by of weekend riders, but the deliberate, thunderous approach of machines meant to intimidate. Sarah watched through the window as 5 bikes rolled into the parking lot, their chrome gleaming aggressively in the fading light. The riders wore black leather vests emblazoned with a snarling demon's head surrounded by chains, the infamous mark of the Road Demons MC. Their leader, a massive man with graying beard and arms covered in faded military-style tattoos, dismounted first. Drake, the demon. Richard stood head and shoulders above his companions, his presence commanding attention even from outside. Sarah had heard the whispers about him and his gang, how they'd been systematically taking over transit hubs across the state, turning them into staging grounds for their criminal operations. As the bikers strode toward the entrance, an elderly woman clutched her purse tighter and hurried past Sarah. "Don't stay, dear," she whispered. "The demons own this station now. Nobody stands up to them anymore." Sarah's grip tightened on the flag case. James had always said that evil triumphs when good people choose to walk away. For 3 years, she'd carried his flag and his memory. Tonight, she would carry his courage too. The station doors swung open with unnecessary force as the bikers entered. Conversation died. The few remaining passengers seemed to shrink into themselves, trying to become invisible. Drake's heavy boots echoed against the linoleum as he surveyed his domain, his eyes eventually settling on Sarah and the flag case she held. A predatory grin spread across his face as he nudged one of his companions. Well, what do we have here?" Little lady's got herself a souvenir." Sarah remained still, her posture straight, her eyes forward. She'd stood proud at military ceremonies, faced down the grief of losing her husband, and endured the lonely nights that followed. She wouldn't be intimidated by men who confused violence with strength. Drake moved closer, his gang spreading out to form a loose circle around her. "That's a mighty fine box you're holding there. Military issue, ain't it? Let me guess. Husband was a soldier?" "My husband was Captain James Matthews, 75th Ranger Regiment," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "This flag draped his coffin at Arlington." Drake's grin widened. "A ranger's widow? Even better. Bet he thought he was real tough, didn't he? Right up until—" "I'd reconsider finishing that sentence." The new voice cut through the tension like a blade. Sarah turned to see a middle-aged Asian man standing from his seat in the corner. Michael Chen moved with the fluid grace of someone intimately familiar with combat, his civilian clothes doing nothing to hide his military bearing. "This doesn't concern you, old man," Drake growled. But there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes as he assessed the newcomer. "Actually, it does." Michael stepped closer, his eyes fixed on the flag case. "You see, Captain Matthews saved my life in Kandahar, and now you're disrespecting his widow." Drake's demeanor shifted subtly as he reassessed Michael Chen. The biker's initial cockiness gave way to something more cautious, more calculating. His gang members exchanged uncertain glances, their formation loosening slightly. "Kandahar, huh?" Drake's voice carried a forced casualness. "Lot of people pass through there. Doesn't make you special." "October 15th, 2019, Michael replied quietly. 3rd Battalion. Night operation gone wrong. We were pinned down by insurgents. Captain Matthews led a rescue mission when everyone else said it was too risky. He pulled 4 of us out of that hellhole." Sarah's breath caught. James had written to her about that night, though he'd downplayed his role as he always did. "The letter," she whispered. "He said it was just another routine extraction." Michael's eyes softened as he looked at her. "Your husband never took credit for his bravest acts, ma'am. He believed courage wasn't about recognition. It was about doing what's right, even when no one was watching." Drake snorted, though the sound lacked his earlier confidence. "Very touching. But this isn't Afghanistan, and your war stories don't mean shit here. This is our territory now." "Territory?" Michael's voice hardened. "Is that what you call terrorizing civilians? Harassing widows?" Captain Matthews died protecting people from men who thought strength came from intimidation. Men who preyed on those they saw as weak. One of the younger bikers, barely out of his teens, shifted uncomfortably. His patches marked him as a new recruit, his vest still stiff with newness. "Drake, maybe we should—" "Shut it, kid," Drake snapped, but his authority was cracking. The mention of Afghanistan had struck something in him, a recognition he was trying desperately to suppress. Sarah watched the interplay, understanding dawning. "You served," she said suddenly, her eyes fixed on Drake's faded tattoos. "Those aren't just random designs. That's a unit insignia under all that ink, isn't it?" The station fell silent. Drake's jaw clenched, his fingers unconsciously tracing the covered marking on his arm. "That was a lifetime ago," he growled, "before I learned how the world really works." "Before you forgot what that uniform meant," Michael corrected. "Before you decided it was easier to become what we fought against." Drake moved with explosive speed, grabbing Michael's collar. "You don't know anything about me, old man." But Michael didn't flinch. "I know you're wearing your patches wrong side up. I know your tattoos are Marine Corps, probably Force Recon from the design. And I know right now you're trying to intimidate a woman who's shown more courage standing alone than you have with your whole gang behind you." The words hit Drake like physical blows. His grip loosened, confusion and something like shame flickering across his face. The young recruit took a step back, looking between his leader and the 2 veterans with growing uncertainty. Sarah's voice cut through the tension, soft but clear. "James used to say that the hardest battle isn't fighting the enemy. It's fighting the darkness inside ourselves, the part that wants to give in to anger, to fear, to the easy path of violence." She opened the flag case slowly, revealing the meticulously folded fabric within. Pinned to the inside of the case was a photo, James in his dress uniform, smiling proudly beside his unit. He believed in redemption, in second chances, even for those who'd lost their way. Drake stared at the photo, his hands falling to his sides. In James's face, he saw something he'd tried to forget. The honor, the purpose, the brotherhood that had once defined his own life. His carefully constructed facade of hardened criminality began to crack. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time. So if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The young recruit stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the flag. "My brother," he said quietly. "He didn't make it back from Fallujah. Nobody ever told us how it happened. Just gave us a flag like that one." "Tyler Reed," Michael said suddenly. "Corporal, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, died saving his squad from an IED. I was there that day too." The young biker's eyes widened. You knew my brother?" "He was a hero," Michael replied. "The kind of Marine your leader used to be before he forgot what that title meant." More cracks appeared in Drake's armor, the weight of buried memories and discarded honor pressing down on him. His gang watched uncertainly, their own confidence wavering as their leader's resolve began to crumble. Sarah stepped closer to Drake, holding the flag case where he could clearly see it. "It's not too late," she said gently. "James believed that as long as we're breathing, we have the chance to choose a better path, to remember who we were meant to be." Drake stared at the flag for a long moment, his hardened exterior crumbling further. His hand moved unconsciously to his chest where his own folded flag lay hidden in a storage unit, a remnant of his past he couldn't bring himself to destroy. "You don't understand," he said, his voice hoarse. "You can't just walk away from this life. The things we've done, the people we've hurt." "I understand better than you think," Michael replied. "After Kandahar, I was lost, angry, looking for something to blame, someone to hurt. Captain Matthews found me in a bar one night, about to start a fight that would have ruined my life." Sarah smiled softly. "That sounds like James, always finding the ones who needed help the most." "He didn't lecture me," Michael continued, "just sat down and talked. Reminded me that our uniform wasn't just about fighting, it was about protecting, about standing for something greater than ourselves." The young recruit, Tommy as his vest patch identified him, moved closer to his brother's photo in the case. "What was he like?" he asked quietly. "My brother, I mean. Nobody ever talks about him anymore." "He was brave," Michael answered. "Not just in combat, but in the small moments. The way he'd write letters to kids back home, send half his pay to your mother, stand up for the new guys in the unit. That's real courage, not this false strength your gang pretends to have." Drake's facade cracked completely. "We were supposed to be helping veterans," he said, almost to himself. "That's how it started, giving guys a place to belong, a purpose again. But somewhere along the way, you lost sight of the mission," Sarah finished. "Started thinking protection meant control, strength meant fear." The other bikers had drawn closer, their aggressive postures melting away as they witnessed their leader's transformation. Each had their own story, their own path that had led them to the road demons. Now, faced with the reality of what they'd become, those paths seemed less certain. "What am I supposed to do?" Drake asked, real vulnerability showing through. "Just walk away? Pretend none of this happened?" "No," Michael said firmly. "You make it right. Start using your strength to protect instead of intimidate. Honor the uniform you once wore, the brothers we lost, by becoming the men they died believing in." Sarah opened her purse and pulled out a business card. "There's a veterans support group 2 towns over. That's where I was heading tonight. They help men find their way back, no matter how far they've strayed." Drake took the card with trembling fingers. The setting sun through the station windows caught the metal of his bike chain, no longer looking menacing but instead like links connecting past to present, lost honor to possible redemption. "The others won't like this," one of his gang members warned. "The higher-ups in the club, they'll see it as weakness." "Then they never understood real strength," Drake replied, straightening his shoulders. Something of the Marine he'd once been showed through his biker exterior. "We've been fighting the wrong battles, boys, terrorizing the wrong people." Tommy looked at his brother's photo one last time before speaking up. Maybe we could start protecting people instead, like my brother did, like we were supposed to." The transformation in the station was palpable. Where minutes before there had been tension and fear, now there was something else, a sense of awakening, of possibility. The few remaining passengers watched in amazement as the feared road demons began to shed their menacing persona, revealing the lost souls beneath. "It won't be easy," Michael cautioned. "Change never is. But you don't have to do it alone." Sarah held out her hand to Drake. "James would have given you a chance. He believed everyone deserved one as long as they were willing to try." Drake stared at her offered hand, then at the flag case, then at his own reflection in the station window. In it, he saw not the fearsome biker he'd become, but shadows of the Marine he'd once been, and perhaps could be again. Drake took Sarah's hand, the gesture marking a moment of silent transformation. His grip was gentle, almost reverent, a stark contrast to his earlier aggression. "I had a flag like yours once," he admitted quietly. "Couldn't look at it after what I became. Locked it away with my medals, my uniform. Everything I used to be proud of." "Those things aren't just symbols," Sarah responded softly. "They're reminders of promises we made. Promises that don't expire just because we've lost our way." The station's fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting shifting shadows across the gathered faces. Other passengers had begun to emerge from their hiding spots, drawn by the unexpected turn of events. Among them, an elderly veteran slowly stood, revealing a Marine Corps cap worn with pride. "I remember when you first came home, Drake," the old Marine said, stepping forward. "You were different then. Used to help me with my grocery runs, wouldn't take a dime for it. Said it was just Marines looking after their own." Drake's expression crumpled at the recognition. "Mr. Henderson, we've been making you pay protection money. Your own grocery store. You lost your way, son," Henderson replied, no condemnation in his voice. "Happens to the best of us sometimes. Question is, what are you going to do now that you've found it again?" Tommy moved closer to Drake, his young face full of determination. "We could start over. Make the road demons into something different. Something that would make my brother proud." One of the other bikers, a heavily tattooed man named Razor, shook his head. "The other chapters won't accept this. They'll see it as betrayal." "Then let them," Drake said, his voice finding new strength. "We'll break away, form our own group if we have to, one that honors what we were meant to be." Michael stepped forward, his military bearing unmistakable. "You'll need help, support, resources to make it work. And you'll have enemies," another biker warned. "The club has connections. They won't just let us walk away." Sarah's voice cut through their concerns. "James used to say that doing the right thing is rarely the easy thing. But he also said we're stronger together than we are alone." She reached into her purse again, pulling out more cards. "The support group. It's not just counseling. They have connections too. Legal help, job training, everything you need to rebuild. They've helped hundreds of veterans find their way back." Drake looked at his gang members, seeing not the hardened criminals they'd become, but the lost soldiers they'd been. Each had their own story, their own wounds that had led them here. "It's your choice," he told them. "I won't force anyone to follow this path, but I can't keep leading us down the wrong one." Tommy was the first to step forward. "My brother would have wanted this. Would have wanted me to be better than what I've become." One by one, the others moved to join him. Even Razor, after a long moment of internal struggle, nodded his agreement. "Been feeling hollow inside for too long anyway," he admitted. "Maybe it's time to remember what it felt like to be proud of who we are." Michael pulled out his phone. "I've got contacts in veteran affairs, people who can help smooth the transition. It won't be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is." Mr. Henderson approached Drake, placing a weathered hand on his shoulder. "Your old man, before he passed, he told me to look out for you. Said you had a good heart even when you were trying to hide it. Think maybe he was right." The mention of his father seemed to finally break something loose in Drake. His eyes glistened as he looked at the flag case Sarah still held, then at his own reflection in the station window. The sun had set completely now, but somehow the darkness felt less oppressive than before. Drake pulled his phone from his jacket, his fingers hovering over the keys. "First things first. Gotta make some calls, undo some damage." He looked at Mr. Henderson. "Starting with canceling all those protection payments. Your store included." It's more than just payments, Michael interjected, his tactical mind already working. You've got territory markers, agreements with other chapters, compromised officials. This has to be handled carefully, or it could get dangerous. Sarah watched as the former Marine in Drake began to surface, his strategic training taking over. We'll need a plan, he agreed. Can't just tear everything down without considering the consequences. Tommy stepped forward, energized by the possibility of redemption. What if we turned our clubhouse into a veterans center? We've got the space, the resources. Could help others like us who lost their way. The Road Demons leadership won't let this happen easily, Razor warned, his face grim. They'll see this as a threat to their whole operation. Then we'll need to be smart about this, Michael replied. I've dealt with similar situations during counterinsurgency operations. Sometimes the best way to dismantle a corrupt system is from the inside out. Sarah opened her flag case again, but this time she removed a hidden compartment beneath the flag. Inside were documents, photographs, financial records, incident reports. James didn't just die in Afghanistan, she revealed. He was investigating connections between certain motorcycle clubs and international drug trafficking. He left these for me, said they might be needed someday. The revelation stunned the group. Drake's eyes widened as he recognized some of the names in the files. This goes higher than I thought, way higher. Which is exactly why this transition needs to be handled carefully, Michael emphasized. We're not just dealing with local tough guys anymore. This is organized crime. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. Got a nephew in the FBI. He's been trying to build a case against the club's leadership for years. These documents might be what he needs. The station had become a makeshift command center as plans began to form. The remaining passengers watched in amazement as former enemies transformed into allies, their collective military experience creating a formidable planning team. First priority is protection, Drake declared. Once word gets out about what we're doing, there'll be retaliation. We need to ensure everyone involved is safe. Sarah's bus ticket lay forgotten on the bench. Her monthly support group meeting would have to wait. Something more important was happening here, something James would have wanted her to be part of. We'll need to move fast, Michael advised. Element of surprise is crucial. The longer we wait, the more chance word gets out. Tommy was already making lists on his phone. I know other members in different chapters who feel the same way we do. Guys who joined looking for brotherhood but found something darker instead. And we'll need legal protection, Razor added. Can't just walk away from a club like this without consequences. Sarah pulled out her phone. I know some military lawyers through the support group. They specialize in helping veterans in trouble. They'll understand what we're trying to do here. The atmosphere in the station had completely transformed. Where fear had reigned just hours ago, now there was purpose, determination, and most surprisingly, hope. The Road Demons' patches on their vests no longer seemed menacing, but rather like remnants of a past they were choosing to leave behind. We'll need a secure location to coordinate everything, Michael said, his military training evident in his planning. Can't use the clubhouse, it's probably monitored, and this bus station isn't secure enough for what we need to discuss. Mr. Henderson straightened his aged frame. My store has a basement. Used to be a community fallout shelter back in the day. Solid walls, one way in, one way out. Perfect for what you need. Drake nodded appreciatively. Even better, nobody would suspect us meeting there. The club thinks they own you. They won't look twice at bikes parked outside your store. Sarah studied James's documents spread across the station bench. Some of these files are dated just weeks before he died. He knew something big was coming, something that connected the club to international weapons trafficking. That tracks, Razor said quietly. Been hearing whispers about new shipments, big ones, military-grade stuff that shouldn't be on civilian streets. Tommy's young face hardened with resolve. My brother died fighting against people who smuggle weapons to hurt innocent people. And here we've been, helping the same kind of evil he gave his life to stop. Michael's tactical mind was already working. We'll need to coordinate with multiple agencies. FBI for the weapons trafficking, DEA for the drug connections, ATF for the firearms violations. But it has to be done carefully. There's no telling how deep the corruption goes. Drake pulled out a small notebook from his vest. Got names, dates, meeting locations, been keeping track, even though I tried to pretend I didn't care. Guess some part of me knew this day would come. The support group has connections with a task force, Sarah added. They specialize in helping veterans who want to leave criminal organizations. They can provide protection, new identities if needed. One of the other bikers, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What about our families? The club knows where they live. They'll use them against us. Already thought of that, Mr. Henderson replied. Got a brother owns a fishing lodge up in the mountains. Remote, defensible, plenty of space. Perfect place for families to lay low until this is over. The planning continued as night settled outside. The last buses had left, leaving the station to their impromptu war council. Each person brought something to the table. Drake's inside knowledge, Michael's tactical experience, Sarah's documents, Mr. Henderson's community connections. We'll need to move fast, Michael emphasized. Once we start, we'll have maybe 48 hours before the club realizes what's happening. Everything has to be coordinated perfectly. Sarah looked at the group gathered around her husband's documents. James would have been proud to see this. Enemies becoming allies, lost souls finding their way back to the light. His sacrifice was still saving lives even years after his death. Dawn tomorrow, Drake decided. We get the families to safety first, then start rolling out the rest of the plan. Tommy, contact those other members you mentioned. Razor, start copying those records. Mr. Henderson, get your FBI nephew on standby. The elderly veteran nodded. I'll call him now, and Drake, your father would be proud of what you're doing here. Drake's tough exterior cracked just slightly at those words. He looked at the flag case Sarah still held, then at his own reflection in the darkened windows. The man looking back at him was starting to resemble the Marine he used to be. A police cruiser rolled slowly past the station, its headlights sweeping across the windows. Everyone tensed until Drake shook his head. Officer Wilson, he's on the club's payroll. Does regular checks to make sure we're not being watched. How deep does the corruption go? Michael asked, making notes on his phone. Local level, about half the force, Drake replied grimly. State level's cleaner, but there are still a few key positions compromised. That's why everything we do has to go straight to federal. Sarah was organizing James's documents into categories: financial records, surveillance photos, meeting transcripts. Some of these photos show club members meeting with men in military uniforms. James highlighted these specifically. Michael leaned in, his expression darkening. Those aren't just any uniforms. Those are logistics officers. They'd have access to military supply chains, shipping manifests. Perfect cover for weapons trafficking, Drake finished. Military shipments don't get the same scrutiny at customs. We've been using veteran-owned trucking companies as fronts. Tommy's phone buzzed. Got responses from 3 other chapters. They're interested. Been waiting for a chance like this. Just didn't know how to make the first move. How many? Michael asked. 27 members total. All veterans. All wanting out. Razor whistled low. That's almost a quarter of the club's total membership. This could actually work. Mr. Henderson returned from making his call. My nephew's bringing in a special task force. They've been building a case against the club for months. Said these documents could be the missing piece they needed. Sarah's hand went to the gold chain around her neck, her wedding ring and James's dog tags. He knew, she said softly. That's why he kept investigating even after his deployment ended. He knew this went beyond just one motorcycle club. And he died for it, Michael added quietly. That accident in Afghanistan maybe wasn't an accident at all. Drake's fists clenched. We've been helping the same people who might have killed your husband, been their muscle, their enforcers. Christ. Then let's make it right, Tommy said firmly. Take them down the way my brother would have wanted, by standing up for what's right. A plan was taking shape. Michael drew a rough timeline on the back of an old bus schedule. Phase 1, get the families to safety. Phase 2, secure evidence and begin coordinating with federal agencies. Phase 3, synchronized raids on club properties once we have everything in place. The club has a major meeting scheduled for next week, Drake offered. All chapter presidents, top leadership. They're planning something big. Whatever these weapon shipments are for, that's when they're finalizing the details. Sarah studied the timeline. That gives us 6 days to put everything in motion, to get everyone in position. It'll be enough, Michael assured her. I've coordinated more complicated operations with less time. The key is perfect synchronization. Everyone has to know their role and stick to the plan. Mr. Henderson's store would become their command center, the mountain lodge their safe house, the veteran support group their cover for moving people and information. Years of military training among them was being repurposed for one final mission, one that would determine not just their futures, but the future of countless others affected by the club's operations. The night had deepened outside the bus station, but inside, a complex operation was taking shape. Michael pulled out a small laptop from his briefcase, quickly establishing a secure connection. First thing we need is a communications network they can't monitor. Can't use phones, too easy to track. The club's got people in most of the local telecoms, Drake confirmed, watching Michael work. They intercept anything suspicious. That's why we're going old school, Michael replied, typing rapidly. Remember those emergency radio protocols from service? We're setting up something similar. Short range, encrypted, frequency hopping. Sarah spread out a street map of the city, marking key locations with a red pen. James kept detailed notes on their surveillance points. They watch these intersections, these buildings. We'll need alternate routes for moving people. Got that covered, Mr. Henderson interjected. The old tunnel system under the city. Used to be part of the Underground Railroad, then Prohibition smuggling routes. Most people forgot about them, but us old-timers remember. Tommy was coordinating with the other chapters through secure messaging apps. More are joining, up to 35 members now, but some are worried about retaliation. The club, they make examples of people who try to leave. That stops now, Drake declared, his voice firm. Pull up the membership records, Razor. Every threat, every act of intimidation, we document it all. Build a RICO case they can't wiggle out of. Michael nodded approvingly at Drake's strategic thinking. We'll need safe houses across different jurisdictions. Can't keep everyone in one place? Too risky. The support group has a network, Sarah offered. Veterans helping veterans. Safe houses from here to the coast. They can absorb small groups, make them disappear into the community. Mr. Henderson returned from another call. My nephew's task force is mobilizing. They've got teams standing by in 3 states. Said your husband's documents are pure gold, Sarah. Names, dates, bank accounts, everything they needed. Speaking of banks, Razor added, I've got access to the club's financial records. Been doing their books for the past year. The weapon shipments? They're not just selling them. They're stockpiling. Building an arsenal. The implication sent a chill through the room. Drake's expression hardened. They're planning something big. That meeting next week. It's not just about business. They're preparing for some kind of operation. The shipping manifests, Sarah said suddenly, pulling out specific documents. James marked these containers. They're not just bringing in weapons. They're bringing in military-grade electronics, communication gear, tactical equipment. Michael studied the manifests, his experienced eye catching details others might miss. This is more than criminal enterprise. This is preparation for organized violence, possibly domestic terrorism. Jesus, Tommy whispered. What have we been part of? Nothing you can't walk away from, Sarah assured him. That's what James believed, that it's never too late to choose a different path. Drake began pacing, his military training kicking in as he analyzed the situation. Okay, we need to accelerate the timeline. If they're planning something big, we can't wait for the meeting. We need to start moving people tonight. Agreed, Michael said. Mr. Henderson, how quickly can we get access to those tunnels? Got the keys right here. Used to give tours before the city sealed them off. Entrance in my store's basement connects to the whole network. Razor was already on his laptop, fingers flying across the keys. Transferring financial records to secure drives. Club uses software that deletes data if accessed wrong. Learned that trick to cover their tracks. But I built in a backdoor. Give me an hour, I'll have everything. Sarah's phone buzzed, the support group coordinator. They're activating the network. Safe houses are being prepared. They can start receiving families within 2 hours. Tommy had moved to the window, watching the street. 2 of Wilson's patrol cars just passed by. They're increasing surveillance. They suspect something? Michael asked sharply. No, Drake replied. Standard procedure before a big operation. They're clearing the area, making sure nobody's watching them. Actually works in our favor. Keeps other cops away while we work. Mr. Henderson spread out blueprints of his store in the tunnel system. Main entrance here connects to 3 major branches. North Tunnel comes up near the old factory district. East Tunnel leads to the river. South Tunnel's partially collapsed but still passable. Comes out near the state highway. Perfect, Michael said, marking routes. We'll split the families into 3 groups. Different tunnels, different destinations. Harder to track. Sarah studied the blueprints. The support group has vehicles waiting at each exit point. Unmarked. Regular civilian cars. They'll blend with traffic. Drake turned to his men. Razor, you handle the financial data. Tommy, keep coordinating with the other chapters. I want constant updates on who's in and who might be a problem. The rest of you, start quietly spreading the word to families. No phones, face-to-face only. Tell them to pack light, essentials only. What about the weapons? Michael asked. The ones already in their possession? Most are stored at the main clubhouse, Drake explained. Heavy security, but I know the layout. Give me 2 days. I can get a team inside, secure everything before they know what's happening. Sarah's hand went to her husband's dog tags again. James would say timing is crucial. Hit them too soon, they scatter and regroup. Too late, they execute whatever they're planning. 3 days, Michael decided. We get the families clear, gather our evidence, position our people, then we move on everything simultaneously. The weapons, the leadership, their entire infrastructure. Mr. Henderson nodded grimly. I'll have my nephew coordinate with federal agencies. Hit them with everything. FBI, ATF, DEA. No chances for loopholes or legal tricks. Drake looked at his reflection again in the dark window. The hardened biker was gone, replaced by something he hadn't seen in years. A Marine planning a mission, protecting the innocent, serving with honor. Sarah, he said quietly. Your husband, the accident in Afghanistan. Once this is over, once we have access to all their records, we'll find out what really happened. You have my word. She touched the flag case, a sad smile crossing her face. James would say the truth always comes out. Not on our timeline, but when it needs to. The station had become their first command center, an unlikely place for the beginning of such a massive operation. But then again, Sarah thought, looking at the transformed bikers around her. This whole night had been about unlikely transformations. Tommy's phone buzzed again. Another chapter just made contact. 42 members now. Words spreading through the veteran community. They're calling it Operation Homecoming. Appropriate, Michael commented, because that's what this really is, helping lost soldiers find their way home. Dawn was approaching when the first messages started coming in. Tommy's phone lit up with encrypted signals from other chapters. Families are moving, 23 already secure in safe houses, 15 more en route. Michael tracked their progress on a makeshift map spread across the station's waiting room bench. Red dots marked safe houses, blue lines traced evacuation routes, green circles highlighted rally points. Henderson's tunnels are working perfectly. Club security doesn't have a clue. They're starting to notice something, though, Razor reported, monitoring chatter on the club's frequencies. Questions about missing families, wives not answering phones. They're getting nervous. Drake nodded grimly. That's why we move faster now, can't give them time to connect the dots. He turned to Sarah, who was still organizing James's intelligence files. Those shipping manifests, when's the next weapons delivery scheduled? Sarah consulted the documents. 3 containers due at the port in 36 hours. But there's something else. She pulled out a highlighted page. James marked this specifically. The manifest lists machine parts, but the weight distribution's all wrong. Michael leaned in, his military experience catching the discrepancy. Those aren't parts. That weight and volume, we're looking at explosives. military grade. Christ, Drake muttered. That meeting next week? Whatever they're planning, it's bigger than we thought. Mr. Henderson returned from another call with his FBI nephew. Task force is ready. They've got teams at every port from here to Miami. Soon as those containers touch American soil, they move. Not good enough, Michael countered. We need to know what's already here, what they've stockpiled. One cache of military explosives in the wrong hands. The warehouse, Tommy interrupted. Remember that restricted area in the club's main storage? The one even senior members can't access? Bet that's where they're keeping the serious hardware. Drake's expression darkened. Makes sense, place has security like a military base. Guards, cameras, motion sensors. Getting in won't be easy. We don't need to get in, Sarah said suddenly. James's files. They're not just about shipments. He mapped their whole security system. Every camera, every sensor, every blind spot. Razor whistled low. Your husband was thorough. He knew what was coming, Sarah replied softly. Maybe not the details, but he knew it was something big, something worth dying to expose. Michael studied the security diagrams. With these plans, we could get a team inside, but timing would be critical. One alarm, one wrong move. Then we don't move wrong, Drake declared. His Marine training was fully evident now, strategic mind analyzing angles and approaches. I know those guards, their routines. Give me 4 men who remember their combat training. We can be in and out before they know what hit them. Tommy stepped forward. I'm in. My brother died fighting people who'd use weapons like this. Time I did something he'd be proud of. Count me too, Razor added. Done enough wrong. Time to balance the scales. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. My store's getting a late-night delivery tomorrow. Big truck, lots of boxes. Perfect cover for moving whatever you find. Sarah watched the planning unfold, these former enemies now working together with military precision. James would have appreciated the irony, his death bringing together the very people who might have been involved in it, all of them working to prevent more bloodshed. We'll need a distraction, Michael mused. Something to draw attention away from the warehouse. Already handled, Razor grinned. Remember that club rally scheduled for tomorrow night? Just sent out updates. New location, 30 miles in the opposite direction. Most of security will be tied up there. Drake nodded approvingly. Perfect. While they're babysitting drunk bikers, we hit the warehouse. By the time they realize something's wrong, evidence will be in federal hands. Speaking of evidence, Tommy interjected, checking his phone. Just got word from the Memphis chapter. Their president's flipped, bringing 6 years of records, names of every corrupt official on their payroll. The scope of what they were doing hit Sarah suddenly. This wasn't just about stopping one weapons shipment or shutting down one criminal organization. They were dismantling an entire network of corruption, one that reached into law enforcement, politics, even the military. James would be proud, Michael said quietly, seeing her expression. Not just of what we're doing, but of how we're doing it. Working together, making things right. Drake checked his watch. Sun's coming up. We need to move this operation to Henderson's basement. Too exposed here now. As if to emphasize his point, another patrol car rolled past, slower this time. Officer Wilson was getting suspicious. One last thing, Sarah said, opening the flag case one more time. From beneath the careful folds of fabric, she withdrew a small flash drive. James's insurance policy. Everything he discovered, every connection, every operation. He said if anything happened to him, this would finish what he started. The group stared at the tiny device that could bring down an empire of corruption. Tommy was the first to speak. For my brother. For James, Michael added. For redemption, Drake finished. The transition from the bus station to Mr. Henderson's store basement happened in stages, carefully coordinated to avoid attention. Michael went first, carrying what looked like ordinary shopping bags. Tommy and Razor followed 30 minutes later, appearing to be making early morning deliveries. Drake waited longer, making sure their movements hadn't been noticed. Sarah and Mr. Henderson were the last to leave, their regular routines providing perfect cover. To any observer, they were just an elderly man walking a friend to his store at dawn. something he'd done countless times before. The basement was exactly as Mr. Henderson had described. Solid concrete walls, one entrance, and most importantly, access to the tunnel system that would prove crucial to their plans. Michael had already set up a command center, laptops and communications equipment arranged on old store tables. Wilson's car passed the station 3 more times after we left, Drake reported as he joined them. He's definitely suspicious. We need to move fast. Razor was hunched over a computer, fingers flying across the keyboard. Club's internal messages are getting frantic. They've noticed something's wrong but can't figure out what. Leadership's calling for status reports from all chapters. Let them panic, Michael said grimly. Confusion works in our favor. How many families are clear now? Tommy checked his secure messaging app. 58 confirmed safe, another 30 in transit. Support networks running like clockwork. Sarah spread James's security diagrams across a makeshift planning table. The warehouse vault has 3 layers of security. Outer perimeter is guards and cameras. Inner has motion and heat sensors. The vault itself has a biometric lock. Which is why we bring this, Drake said, pulling out a small case. Inside was a carefully preserved hand. Belongs to the club's security chief. Got him drunk last month. Took molds of his prints while he was passed out. Had a guy in forensics make this. Michael raised an eyebrow. You've been planning something like this for a while, haven't you? Drake's expression hardened. Started having doubts months ago. Seeing too many weapons, hearing too many plans that didn't sit right. Just needed a catalyst. He looked at Sarah. Guess disrespecting the wrong widow was that catalyst. Mr. Henderson returned from checking his store's security cameras. Street's clear, but we've got company coming. My nephew's here with his task force commander. 2 men entered the basement through the shop's back entrance. Henderson's nephew, Agent Carter, was all business in his FBI tactical gear. The commander with him, a weathered man with Delta Force insignia, surveyed the room with practiced eyes. Quite an operation you've put together, the commander said. Agent Carter's been briefing me. You're sure about these weapons? The explosives? Sarah handed over James's files. Everything's documented. Shipping routes, storage locations, contact names. My husband was thorough. The commander leafed through the pages, his expression growing darker. This matches chatter we've been hearing. Multiple extremist groups preparing for coordinated attacks. If these weapons get distributed, they won't, Drake stated firmly. We hit the warehouse tonight. Everything they've stockpiled, all their records, it ends now. Agent Carter spread out his own maps. We've got teams staged here, here, and here. Soon as you secure the evidence, we move on all their properties simultaneously. Local PD's been kept out of the loop due to potential corruption. What about the port, Michael asked. Those containers arriving tomorrow? Coast Guard's been alerted, the commander replied. Ships will be intercepted in international waters. Nothing touches American soil. Sarah noticed Tommy standing apart, staring at his phone. What is it? Just got word from another chapter president, he said quietly. The club. They didn't just kill your husband, Sarah. There are others. Veterans who got too close, asked too many questions. They made them all look like accidents. The basement fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about weapons anymore. This was about justice for every victim, every life destroyed by the club's corruption. Drake's voice cut through the tension. Then we make it count. Every piece of evidence, every weapon we secure, every corrupt official we expose, it all helps make things right. Michael nodded grimly. Walk me through the warehouse plan again. We need this to be perfect. The next hour was spent in detailed planning. Entry points were memorized, timing synchronized, contingencies established. The commander offered tactical support. Agent Carter coordinated with his teams, and Mr. Henderson prepared his store for its role as both command center and evidence storage. As dusk approached, the basement command center hummed with focused energy. Razor's surveillance monitors showed the warehouse perimeter, feeds tapped from the club's own security system. Drake, Michael, and Tommy were gearing up, checking their non-lethal equipment one final time. Last thermal scan shows 12 guards on rotation, Michael reported, studying the infrared images. 4 at the gates, 2 roaming the fence line, 6 inside the compound. Shift change happens at midnight, Drake added, adjusting his tactical vest. That's our window. During handover, security protocols get sloppy. Guards more focused on going home than watching shadows. Sarah worked with Agent Carter, correlating James's intelligence with the FBI's existing case files. These shipping manifests, the weights don't match declared cargo on any of them, not just the weapons. They've been smuggling for years. Using veteran-owned businesses as fronts, Carter confirmed grimly. Trading on military credentials to avoid customs scrutiny. Your husband was close to exposing the whole network when they killed him, Sarah finished quietly. Made it look like combat casualty in Afghanistan. The Delta Force commander, who'd introduced himself simply as Wilson, studied the warehouse blueprints. Security's impressive. Military-grade sensors, reinforced access points. Someone with serious training set this up. That would be Marcus Reynolds, Drake explained. Former Special Forces. Runs club security now. Man's paranoid. Plans for every contingency. Not every contingency, Tommy interjected, pulling up images on his phone. Got these from my contact in the Memphis chapter. Reynolds has a weakness, high-stakes poker. Drops serious money every Thursday night at an underground game. Michael's eyes narrowed. Tonight's Thursday. Exactly, Tommy grinned. Reynolds won't be anywhere near the warehouse. Already confirmed he's down 50 grand at the tables. Razor looked up from his monitoring station. Club leadership's still scrambling. Missing families. Chapters going dark. They know something's wrong but can't piece it together. They're calling an emergency meeting for tomorrow night. Meeting won't matter, Agent Carter said. Once we have the warehouse evidence, we move on everything. Already got teams staged near every major club property in 3 states. Mr. Henderson emerged from the tunnel entrance, flashlight in hand. Checked the whole route. South Passage is clear all the way to the highway. Got vehicles waiting at all 3 exit points. The commander nodded approvingly. Good escape routes are as important as entry plans. Speaking of which, walk me through the infiltration again. Drake pointed to specific spots on the blueprint. Team of 4. Michael and I take point. Tommy and Razor provide backup. We breach here during shift change. First priority is the vault. That's where they keep the serious hardware and documentation. What about their computer systems? Carter asked. Already handled, Razor replied. Been uploading a virus through their network all day. Midnight sharp, every file gets copied to our secure servers before wiping their drives. They'll be too busy trying to save their data to notice the physical breach. Sarah watched the preparations with a mix of hope and anxiety. James always said the hardest part of any operation isn't the execution, it's the waiting beforehand. Your husband was a wise man, the commander observed. Combat veterans learn that quickly. It's the quiet before contact that tests you most. Tommy's phone buzzed with another encrypted message. 4 more chapters just went dark. 60% of club membership is either with us or in the wind now. Old guards losing control by the hour. Which makes them dangerous, Michael warned. Cornered animals fight hardest. We need to assume they'll be trigger-happy, especially around the weapons cache. Drake checked his watch. 2 hours to shift change. Everyone clear on their roles? The plan was comprehensive. While the infiltration team hit the warehouse, FBI units would move into position around other club properties. The support network would continue evacuating families. Mr. Henderson's store would serve as both command center and evidence collection point. Sarah opened her flag case one last time, touching the carefully folded fabric. James believed that honor wasn't just about fighting the good fight. It was about fighting it the right way. That's why we're doing this clean, Drake assured her. Non-lethal takedowns only. These men might be criminals now, but some were soldiers once. They deserve a chance to face justice properly. Agent Carter's phone lit up with a priority message. Port Authority just reported in. Those container ships we're tracking. They've changed course, heading for a different harbor. They're spooked, the commander realized. Club must have warned them. Question is, how much do they know about what's coming? Doesn't change anything, Michael said firmly. We still hit the warehouse, still secure the evidence. The weapons already here are enough to prove everything. Razor's monitoring equipment suddenly beeped. Movement at the warehouse. 3 SUVs just pulled up. That's not normal for this hour. They crowded around his screens, watching as men in tactical gear emerged from the vehicles. Drake cursed under his breath. That's Reynolds' personal security team. He never calls them in unless he knows something's wrong, Michael finished. Looks like our timeline just got accelerated. The commander quickly assessed the new situation. How many additional hostiles? 8, maybe 10, Drake counted. All ex-military, all armed. Reynolds hiring them means he's expecting trouble. We can still do this, Tommy insisted. They're covering the main entrance, but the tunnel access point is clear. If anything, their presence works for us. Proves they've got something serious to hide. Sarah studied the thermal images. The vault's still accessible through the maintenance corridor. More guards means more confusion during shift change. Might actually work in our favor. Agent Carter conferred rapidly with his superiors. Task force is ready. Give the word. We can have teams on site in 15 minutes. No, Michael said firmly. We stick to the plan. More bodies just means more chance for things to go wrong. 4-man team, minimal footprint, in and out clean. Drake nodded in agreement. The guards are nervous, Reynolds' team is trigger happy. Last thing we need is a firefight. We do this quiet, do it right. The commander studied the men before him. Former enemies now united in common cause. Your call. You know the terrain, know the players. How do you want to handle this? We modify the approach, Drake decided, marking new positions on the blueprint. Michael and I still take point, but now we split the entry. Too many guards watching any single point of access. The thermal cameras showed Reynolds' team establishing a perimeter, their movements precise and professional. Michael studied their patterns, years of combat experience analyzing their weaknesses. They're good, he admitted, but they're expecting an external threat. Won't be watching the maintenance tunnels beneath them. Tommy pulled up the building's original construction plans on his tablet. Got something. Old drainage system. Runs right under the main storage area. Not on any current blueprints. Club probably doesn't even know it exists. That's our way in, Drake confirmed. Razor, can you kill the power to the sensor grid without alerting their backup systems? Already on it. Writing a surge program now. When their generators kick in, there'll be a 3-second gap in coverage. Sarah watched the activity on the monitors, reminded of similar planning sessions with James. The vault's biometric lock. Will it still work if you cut power? Switches to mechanical backup, Drake explained. That's where this comes in. He held up the synthetic hand with Reynolds' fingerprints. Old school meets new school. Agent Carter's phone buzzed with updates. Port Authority lost track of those container ships. They're running dark now, no transponder signals. Doesn't matter, the commander said. Coast Guard's already moving to intercept. Focus on what's in front of us. Mr. Henderson returned from checking his store's security cameras. Street's clear, but there's increased police activity. Wilson's got 2 cars running regular patrols. Let them watch, Michael said. They're looking for obvious movement. Won't expect anyone coming up from below. Razor's computers chimed with an alert. Club leadership's abandoning their usual channels, switching to emergency protocols. They know something big is coming, just not what or where. Drake checked his equipment one final time. Non-lethal weapons, breaching tools, evidence collection gear. 60 minutes to shift change. Point of no return, people. Everyone clear on their roles? The plan had evolved but remained focused. The infiltration team would split into 2 pairs, using the underground access points to breach the warehouse from different directions. FBI teams would maintain their holding positions, ready to move the moment evidence was secured. The support network would accelerate family evacuations, getting potential hostages out of the club's reach. Sarah opened James's files again, reviewing the details of specific weapons shipments. These serial numbers, they match military inventory that went missing in transit. They've been stealing directly from armed forces supply lines. Makes sense, the commander noted. Inside job using veteran credentials to access secure shipments. Your husband was connecting those dots when they got to him. Tommy's phone lit up with another encrypted message. 3 more chapters confirmed dark. Club leadership's calling in everyone they still trust, consolidating at defended positions. Circling the wagons, Michael observed. They feel the noose tightening but can't see where the threat's coming from. Makes them dangerous. Drake studied the thermal images of the warehouse interior. Behind the vault's thick walls, weapons that could devastate communities waited to be distributed. Evidence that could bring down corrupt officials gathered dust. And somewhere in those files, he knew, were the details of James Matthews' murder. "Sarah," he said quietly, "when this is over, when we have their records, we'll find out exactly what happened to James. Every person involved, every detail they tried to hide. You have my word." She touched the flag case, her expression resolute. James would say the truth always finds its way into the light. Sometimes it just needs help getting there. Razor's monitoring equipment suddenly registered new movement. More vehicles approaching the warehouse. Heavy trucks. Wait. He enhanced the images. Those are gun trucks. Clubs bringing in serious firepower. The thermal scans showed the new arrivals. Armed men deploying from armored vehicles, taking up defensive positions. The warehouse was becoming a fortress. This isn't just a security response, Michael realized. They're preparing for war. Agent Carter quickly relayed the information to his superiors. "Task force is ready to move on your signal. We can have tactical teams on site in 10 minutes. "No," Drake said firmly. "More bodies mean more chaos, more chance for bloodshed. We stick to the plan. Small team, surgical precision. In and out before they know what hit them." The commander studied the evolving situation. "Your call, but if things go south..." "They won't," Michael assured him. "We've got something they don't expect. Men who remember their real training, who remember what it means to fight with honor." The time for waiting was over. At exactly 11:45 p.m., Drake and Michael entered the tunnel system beneath Mr. Henderson's store, their movements silent and purposeful. Tommy and Razor followed 2 minutes later, taking a different route to their secondary entry point. "Alpha team in position," Drake whispered into his encrypted radio, approaching first junction. Sarah watched their progress on the thermal imaging displays, each team appearing as ghostly figures moving through the underground maze. Mr. Henderson stood beside her, his aged hands gripping the back of a chair. "Bravo team reaching second marker," Tommy reported. "Tunnel integrity solid. No signs of surveillance." The warehouse loomed above them, its security systems still unaware of the threat moving beneath their feet. Razor had timed his cyber attack perfectly. At midnight, their computer systems would be overwhelmed just as the physical breach began. Multiple vehicles still arriving topside, Agent Carter noted, monitoring the surface activity. "They're fortifying every entrance, running scared, but don't know from what." Michael's voice crackled through the comm system. "Reaching primary access point. Stand by for breach assessment." Sarah pulled up James's detailed notes on the warehouse construction. "Remember, the drainage junction has 3 possible exits. Northern point comes up in the maintenance room, eastern in the storage area, southern directly into the loading bay." "Copy that," Drake responded. "Northern point gives us best access to the vault. Tommy, your team take eastern. Be ready to provide backup if things go wrong." The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. On the surface, the club's defensive preparations continued to escalate. More armed men arrived, taking up positions around the perimeter. Reynolds' security team conducted regular sweeps, their professionalism evident in their movements. 5 minutes to system breach, Razor reported from his position. "Virus is primed and ready. Every file they have will be ours." The Delta Force commander watched the operation unfold with professional interest. "Your husband would be proud," he told Sarah quietly. "This is exactly the kind of precision he was known for." "James always said the best operations are the ones where the enemy never knows you were there," she replied, touching the flag case beside her. 2 minutes, Michael whispered. "Stand by for power disruption." Agent Carter's teams reported ready positions around the city. The moment the evidence was secured, they would move simultaneously on every club property, every corrupt official, every piece of the criminal enterprise. 60 seconds, Razor announced, initiating primary sequence. Drake's voice was steady in their earpieces. Remember, non-lethal only. These men might be criminals, but some were soldiers once. They deserve a chance at redemption. Sarah thought of the transformation she'd witnessed in the bus station, how enemies had become allies, how lost souls had found their way back to honor. Whatever happened next, that miracle would remain. 30 seconds, Tommy reported. Bravo team in position. The warehouse's external lights cast harsh shadows across the compound. Guards patrolled their routes, unaware of the forces gathering beneath their feet. Reynolds' security team maintained their vigil, professionally alert, but watching the wrong directions. 10 seconds, Razor intoned. 9, 8. Sarah held her breath, James's dog tags cool against her skin. 5, 4, 3. The commander tensed, years of combat experience recognizing the calm before chaos. 1. Executing now. The warehouse's power grid flickered once, then died completely. Emergency generators hummed to life, but in those crucial seconds, sensor grids went dark, security cameras froze, and electronic locks reset. Alpha team moving, Drake announced. Breaching northern access point. Bravo team confirms eastern breach, Tommy added. Entering facility now. On the surface, guards reacted to the power disruption with professional concern but no real alarm. Such glitches weren't uncommon, and the backup systems were already engaging. What they didn't know was that Razor's virus had hitched a ride on the generator's startup sequence. As security systems came back online, they began silently copying every file, every record, every piece of evidence to secure FBI servers. First checkpoint clear, Michael reported, moving to secondary position. Bravo team accessing storage level, no contact with hostiles. Sarah watched the thermal displays as both teams moved through the warehouse like ghosts, avoiding patrol routes she had memorized from James's files. This was his legacy in action: precision, planning, and purpose combining to expose the truth. Approaching vault access, Drake whispered. Stand by for biometric bypass. The synthetic hand carrying Reynolds' fingerprints would only work once. They had one chance to get this right. Alpha team at vault entrance, Drake reported, his voice barely a whisper. Initiating biometric sequence. The synthetic hand carefully preserved with Reynolds' fingerprints pressed against the scanner. For a moment that seemed to stretch forever, nothing happened. Then, with a soft hiss, the vault's massive door began to move. We're in, Michael confirmed. Beginning evidence documentation. Inside the vault, their worst fears were confirmed. Racks of military-grade weapons lined the walls. Explosives, detonators, and electronic warfare equipment filled secure containers. But most importantly, filing cabinets stood in neat rows containing years of the club's darkest secrets. Multiple cameras active, Drake noted, setting up their own recording equipment. Documenting everything for evidence. Meanwhile, Tommy and Razor's team maintained their position in the storage area, watching for any sign their operation had been detected. Above them, guards continued their patrols, still unaware of the infiltration happening beneath their feet. Data transfer at 60%, Razor reported from his station. They're starting to notice the system lag, but can't trace it. Sarah studied the thermal images, watching for any change in patrol patterns. 2 guards approaching your position, Alpha Team. Hold for 30 seconds. The footsteps passed directly above the vault, then faded. Drake and Michael worked with practiced efficiency, photographing documents, scanning papers, collecting sample evidence from weapons crates. Got something, Michael suddenly whispered. Sarah, there's a whole file here on James. Operation Sandstorm. This is it. This is what they killed him for. Sarah's hands gripped the edge of the monitoring station. What does it say? He wasn't just investigating weapons trafficking. He'd uncovered a plot to supply arms to domestic terrorist cells. Multiple groups, coordinated attacks planned across major cities. The club was just the distribution network. Holy shit, Agent Carter breathed, looking at the streaming data. This goes way beyond what we thought. Military officials, politicians, corporate leaders, they're all implicated. The commander was already on his secure phone alerting higher authorities. This wasn't just a criminal case anymore. It was a matter of national security. Suddenly, Tommy's voice cut through the comm system. Movement topside. Multiple vehicles approaching fast. No lights. Razor's monitors confirmed it. 3 black SUVs racing toward the warehouse. That's Reynolds' personal convoy. He's coming back from the poker game early. Time to move, Drake ordered. Alpha team beginning extraction. Tommy, get your people out now. But before they could move, the vault's secondary door began to cycle. Someone was accessing it from another entrance. Contact imminent, Michael hissed. 3 hostiles entering from the south corridor. Sarah watched in horror as thermal images showed armed men converging on both teams' positions. The carefully planned operation was about to become a firefight. Remember, non-lethal only, Drake reminded everyone. We're better than them. We prove it now. What happened next unfolded like a lethal ballet. Years of military training took over as both teams engaged their opponents with precise, efficient movements. Rubber bullets and stun weapons deployed with surgical accuracy. Bodies dropped without fatal injuries. Reynolds is entering the building, Razor reported. He's got his entire security team with him. Evidence is secured, Michael confirmed, initiating final exit strategy. But the night had one more surprise in store. As Reynolds and his men rushed toward the vault, alarm klaxons began blaring throughout the facility. Razor's virus had done more than steal data. It had triggered every security system simultaneously. Chaos erupted inside the warehouse. Emergency lights strobed, security doors slammed shut, and sprinkler systems activated, all part of Razor's virus wreaking havoc with the building's systems. In the confusion, both teams began their coordinated extraction. All evidence secured, Drake confirmed, his voice steady despite the mayhem. Alpha team moving to extraction point Charlie. Sarah watched the thermal displays as Reynolds and his security team scattered, trying to cover multiple breach points simultaneously. Their professional discipline was crumbling in the face of an enemy they couldn't see or understand. FBI teams moving into position, Agent Carter announced. Ready to breach on your signal. The commander nodded grimly. Wait until our teams are clear, then hit them with everything. Michael's voice crackled through the comm system. More hostiles entering from the north. They're trying to box us in. Use the confusion, Sarah advised, consulting James's blueprints. Secondary maintenance shaft leads directly to the south tunnel. Tommy's team was already moving, using the chaos as cover. Bravo team beginning extraction. We've got company, but they can't get a fix on our position. Through the cameras, Sarah watched as Reynolds reached the vault, his face contorting with rage as he realized what had happened. The synthetic hand lay discarded by the scanner, a final mockery of his security measures. They're in the tunnels, someone shouted topside. Check the lower levels. Too late, Drake replied calmly. Alpha team reaching rendezvous point in 30 seconds. The operation was entering its final phase. Both teams converged on their extraction points, moving through the underground network with practiced precision. Above them, Reynolds' men searched frantically, but the tunnel system's complexity worked in the infiltrators' favor. Data transfer complete, Razor reported triumphantly. Every file, every record, every piece of evidence, it's all copied and secured. Sarah touched her husband's dog tags, tears in her eyes. It's done, James, she whispered. They can't hide the truth anymore. The first FBI teams were moving in now, their vehicles' lights painting the night in red and blue. Reynolds and his security force found themselves surrounded, their massive arsenal now evidence of their crimes. All teams clear, Michael confirmed. Execute final phase. Agent Carter gave the order, and federal agents swarmed the warehouse from every direction. Simultaneously across the city, other teams moved on club properties, corrupt officials, and everyone implicated in the massive conspiracy. Back in Mr. Henderson's basement, the infiltration teams reunited. Drake removed his tactical gear, looking more like the Marine he'd once been than the biker he'd become. "Sarah," he said quietly, holding out a file. "You should be the first to read this. The full truth about James, about why they killed him." She took the file with trembling hands. "He knew the risks," she said softly. "But he believed some things were worth dying for. And some things are worth living for," Michael added, "like making sure justice is finally served." Tommy's phone buzzed with updates from other chapters. The club was collapsing nationwide as the truth emerged. Veterans who had lost their way were finding their path back to honor, inspired by what had happened in one small town. The commander approached Drake, studying him thoughtfully. "The Veteran Support Network could use men like you, men who understand both sides, who can help others find their way back." Drake looked at his Road Demon's vest, then at Sarah's flag case. "Think maybe that's what I was looking for all along. A way to serve again, to make things right." The sun was rising over Mill Valley as Sarah finally left Mr. Henderson's store. The bus station where everything had started stood quiet now, its morning passengers unaware of the night's events. She opened the flag case one last time, touching the carefully folded fabric. "We did it, James," she whispered. "The truth is out. The weapons are secured. And something else happened. Something you would have loved to see. Lost soldiers found their way home." Across town, FBI agents were still processing evidence, making arrests, unraveling the conspiracy that had cost James his life. But here, in the quiet morning light, Sarah Matthews felt a peace she hadn't known in years. The war widow they'd mistaken for an easy target had helped expose a criminal empire. The flag they'd disrespected had become a symbol of redemption, and the men who'd entered that bus station as enemies had emerged as brothers in arms once again, united in a cause greater than themselves. As Sarah walked home, she heard motorcycles approaching. But these riders were different. Drake, Tommy, and others who had chosen a new path. They fell in beside her, an honor guard escorting her home, their leather vests now symbols not of intimidation but of protection. The morning news would tell of a massive federal operation, of weapons seized and conspirators arrested. But the real story, of honor restored, of redemption found, of a widow's quiet strength changing hearts, that story would be told in veterans' halls and support group meetings for years to come. The bus station where it all began would remain unchanged, its daily passengers never knowing that on one quiet evening, it had become the birthplace of both justice and redemption. And that was exactly as it should be, Sarah thought. Sometimes the greatest victories are the ones that happen in the shadows, where lost souls find their way back to the light. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.